let go of all the worries and concerns outside of this building to allow us to enter into this prayer time. Allow me to share with you a Father's Day interpretation of the Lord's Prayer, honoring our Father God as love. Our God of love, which art in the heavens of love, hallowed be thy name of love. Thy kingdom of love come. Thy loving will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread of love, and forgive us our debts of love, as we also have forgiven those who feel they owe debts of love to us. And leave us not in the temptation of not loving as you unconditionally love us, but deliver us from evils of conditional love. For thine is the kingdom of love, the power of love, and the glory of love forever. Feel these words within you. See God as our Father of love in the silence of prayer. Humankind has looked deep into the earth for God. Humankind has gone into the deepest waters looking for God. Humankind has looked to the mountaintops for God and to the sky. But humankind has not found God there. Humans have always felt away from home, away from God. We have searched for God in the outer world. We have not found God there. We have searched books, listened to ministers, and heard about God, but only hearing about God, we have not totally gone home where we began. But now in this prayer time, you and I have decided to go home, to dwell in God awareness, and to be with our God anytime, anywhere we please. Feel yourself in God's presence in the silence of prayer. The light of God's perfect love is touching you. It is saying to you, welcome. You are being welcomed home. God awaits inside the castle. You walk closer, feeling loved, refreshed, and euphoric. As you walk to the door you decided to enter, you walk in and speak to God. You say, "Dear God, I have been away too long." Speak to God now in your own way, in the silence. I invite you now to come back to this time and this place and know that you have talked to the inner God within you. But that's where God resides. Ever and always. You are never separate from God. Here I am, Lord. Use me. And so it is. Amen. Yes, my name is Maurice Guerette. To say it more in the French connotation, it's Guerette, which means little warrior. So, my native language was French. So now if I speak incorrectly, it's because of that. Because French is a very hard language to decipher into English. But it has helped me in many ways to be the man I need to be. And when I heard that the word today, this month, was imagination, I thought about how fathers use their imagination in their life, always. And you learn that as a child, how to use your imagination. But as a father, you have to be a little bit more creative. But when you become a father, when you get married, first of all, your last name doesn't change. The garage is always yours. Wedding plans take care of themselves. Chocolate is just another snack for fathers. Car mechanics tell you the truth. And you never have to drive to another gas station because this one is just too icky as a father. The occasional well-rendered belch is practically expected, which is a sign of a good food, to remind you of that. New shoes don't cut, blister, or make your feet hurt, of course. Phone conversations are over in 30 seconds, right? A 5-day vacation requires only one suitcase. You get extra credit for the slightest act of thoughtfulness. And everything on your face stays the original color. And you don't ever have to shave below your neck. You don't have to stop and think of which way to turn a nut or a bolt. It comes naturally. You're unable to see wrinkles in your clothes. It looks fine. The same hairstyle lasts for years, maybe decades, right? For those of you that have the same hairstyle, yes. You don't have to shave below your neck, as I said, and your belly usually hides your big hips. Now, for men, that's important. One wallet and one pair of shoes, one color all season. And you can do your nails with a pocket knife. That's what fathers are always like. And the biggest thing is you can do Christmas shopping for 25 relatives on December 24th in 45 minutes. Right? So that's a sign of being a good father. But in the past, on any given Sunday, you'd expect to see 90% of a church congregation women. But that is changing as I see the many faces of men here in this church. And in my own church in Green Valley, we had quite a few men as well. Because women tend to be more spiritual, and men don't seem to know what that is all about. To them, it's all about church. But when you become a father, that changes. One man said, "I became what I consider a real man on the day my daughter was born. With all the joy that brought, it also brought a great deal of fear." And who do you turn to? When my first daughter was born, I was in Vietnam. And besides being in a hostile country, here I was facing the reality of becoming a father for the first time. And when I came home, she was 8 months old. And that's how I first met her. My wife would send me pictures, and I would see pictures of her occasionally. And of course, my wife would show her pictures as she started getting older. And when I came home, it was the biggest homecoming I've ever experienced in my life. Because she reached out to me with open arms right away. So that was a blessing, you know. Even though I was kind of fearful of what I was going to be like to be a father. So the one man that was continues his story. He says, when my daughter was born, I was in the hospital. He says, I faced something that I didn't really know about. I wanted it real badly. It was planned. Are any children planned? It's God's plan. So here I was, he says, and still scared me a great deal. I had what I call sympathetic labor pains. And I don't know if any of you have ever gone through that, but he was bent over with pain as his wife was going through that process. I think it was anticipated of what was to come and questions inside of me as well. Was I good enough to become a father? Would I be a good father? After all, I've never been a father. And the man admitted, I was very surprised when she came into this world that she didn't come with an owner's manual. I didn't read the owner's manual, but it's nice to have. It's nice to know that in an extreme emergency, I could turn to that owner's manual. You've heard it said that women are natural mothers. Well, men can be natural fathers as well. They can also be that way when natural fathers, if they can look within for answers to perplexing questions about being a father. And there's so many ways you can do that. You don't have to look at your own father, because my own father was not a very good father. He was good to a degree. He took care of us and provided for us. But spiritually, he was not there for us. As for me, it took me a long time to find that father role, as I wore many masks of daunting father. I was a daunting father, which was my father was. I became the taskmaster. I didn't know how to show love. I had to be the macho man. That's what I thought the father's role was all about. But I quickly learned that isn't the fact. That isn't the truth. On top of being a provider, protector, and playmate, it's a father's job to be strong but gentle, decisive but fair, and a friend. Now, they say that becoming a father is relatively easy, but being a dad is a little rough. It's also a father's responsibility to see that the children learn to use their abilities to the fullest. The ideal father enforced his rules by the credit of his life. This is what I learned. However, the child you can do the least with often does the most to make you proud. How many of you have had difficult children to raise? Today we honor fathers, and there are many single mothers that play both roles, and we also honor them. And I was really moved a few years ago, about 3 years ago. I received a letter from my daughter on Father's Day that I'd like to share with you. Here are a few things that make you such a wonderful dad. Now, I'm not boasting, believe me, because it took me a while to get there. It wasn't until I found unity that I really learned how to become a good father figure in my child's life. So this is what she wrote to me. Your love for God and family have kept me from going astray. When times were tough, you taught me how important it is to pray. God fixed my life with you by my side, and that made me strong to become a loving mother. You taught me discipline when all I wanted was to run away. You taught me right from wrong and kept me on my path to stay in the light and do what was right. I may not have been seeing the good you were doing, but now it is encoded inside of me, she says. And I quote, to be faithful, loving, and true to yourself and others. Give 100% with all your heart, you will never be disappointed. End quote. And this is how she's living her life now, as a single mom herself. You taught me love, compassion, kindness, and what it means to be faithful and true to every living creature and person. Thank you for never giving up on me. Love, Heather. And she was a tough one to raise, believe me. She was the youngest and a real rebellious one. She lived up to her last name of Guerette. She became a little warrior. She even took up martial arts and took down a 6-foot guy one day that was trying to harass her. Put him down right on his back. But she learned a lot of great things as I learned how to be a good father. By following unity principles. And looking back on it, I wish that more children would learn unity principles and how to use them in everyday life. Because that's what life is all about. Family units are changing, and you have many single parents, hence Lynette. And they take on the role of both mother and father. And that's a daunting task in these days of children, how they are, the peer pressure that they have to be under. So that when it's a single father, when a single father is separated from their children, they need to be more outgoing when they're together and show more love and understanding. The way to be a real man is stand by those kids. See those kids as often as you can, no matter what sacrifices you have to make on your own. But today, men don't want to do that. Men don't want to do that. And first of all, they don't want to grow up. But to love one's son or daughter, to carry in one's bones and blood a pride in them, a longing for their growth and development is not enough. Effective fathering today dictates that you wear many masks. You wear many masks. You tag along on their adventures and their outings. And that should be no problem, because hidden inside every man I've ever known, including myself, is a child who is just as eager to come out and play as a 7-year-old who wants to play in the driveway after school. To his children, a father wears many masks. Superman, as you saw the picture of today. Santa Claus is another one that they wear that mask. As one child put it, Daddy could have climbed the highest mountain, swim the biggest ocean, fly the fastest plane, and fight the strongest tiger. He could build a castle and be a king. Excuse me. Even though most of the time he just takes out the garbage. And as growing up, here's how children see their dads. 4-year-olds, my daddy can do anything. 5 years old, my daddy knows a whole lot. 6 years old, my dad is smarter than your dad. 8 years old, my dad doesn't exactly know everything. 10 years old, in the olden days when my dad grew up, things were sure different. 12 years old. Oh well, naturally, Dad doesn't know anything about that. He is too old to remember his childhood. 14-year-old. Don't pay any attention to my dad. He is so old-fashioned. 21 years old. Him? My Lord, he's hopelessly out of date. 25 years old. Dad knows about it, but then he should because he has been around so long. 30 years old. Maybe we should ask Dad what he thinks. After all, he's had a lot of experiences. 35 years old. I'm not doing a single thing until I talk to Dad. 40 years old. I wonder how Dad would have handled it. He was so wise. 50 years old. I'd give anything if Dad were here now so I could talk this over with him. Too bad I didn't appreciate how smart he was. I could have learned a lot from him. Author unknown. Fathers are imposing no matter what size they come in. It's unusual. It's an unusual child who undeservedly approve of his or her father. By the time you realize the old man was usually right, you usually have kids of their own, but every generation revolts against its fathers and makes friends with its grandfathers. There's a song that was written many years ago that speaks to this and how boys learn about their dads. It's called Cats in the Cradle. So I invite you to hear the words of this wonderful song. Commercial first.
The world is the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was longing for a new it. And as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you. You know I'm gonna be like you. You know when I'm good. He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I really like that is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I tell them please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when we'll get together then. That you know we'll have a good time then. Well, I'm long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. Said I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids have the flu. But it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as he hung up the phone, it occurred to me he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when we'll get together then. And you know we'll have a good time then.
That's so true, isn't it? Especially in this day and age of making a living, providing for your family. Today is the day to really take time again to search the memory bank of your own lives, of what your dad meant to you. It wasn't always the best times, but you did learn something. I thank my dad for teaching me how to love, because he was not loving toward us. That made me realize what love was all about. And even though he wore the mask of a taskmaster and very dictatorial, I learned to be more easygoing and loving toward my children as they got older. And when they turned 18, I turned them loose. I said, you're adults now. And the decisions that you make, you live with. And you follow through on them. I'm here to help you and support you any way I can. But like Harry Chapin said here, he didn't realize the quality of that song until he had his own child. And now he was too busy for his family. So society today dictates a work ethics. But the reality is your job, your family, and God. The reality is God, your family, and your job. So when you live by those principles that unity teaches, God comes first. For there is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good omnipotence. You live with those principles, and you can be a great father. Trusting your Heavenly Father, God, who lives inside all the time and is available to you at your beck and call. And God said, whom shall I send? And you will respond, here I am, Lord, send me. Happy Father's Day to all the dads and to all the single mothers who play both roles. Thank you. God bless you.